Okay, let's just focus on Cardiff. We only spoke 2 days ago, so I think we ought to start on Sulemana and Ross Stewart. And what can you tell us about their physical health?
Yeah, unfortunately, both going to be out for quite a while. So it's really disappointing for different reasons. So Ross is like hugely disappointing because he's worked so hard to get fully fit, and then he landed in a really awkward, compromising position against Huddersfield late on in the game, and has got a muscle injury. So that'll be, I don't know. We won't expect him. Definitely not this side of Christmas. Maybe mid to late January, probably. All being well, maybe even later than that. We'll see. This is still being assessed and monitored, and he's seen a specialist about it. So really, like, heartbroken for Ross. I really am. The whole group are and have been, and it's not the same injury, which is a bonus. So he'll have some more time out now, and hopefully come back fit and firing. It's always a risk when you come back from a long-term injury. And I feel like we haven't rushed him. Everyone's been in agreement with the plan of sports science and the medical department, and Ross himself, although Ross has been desperate to play more and be back quicker. So yeah, really unfortunate and really disappointed for him. And then Camaldine felt his hamstring on Wednesday night, and we were hopeful because of the action he did it in, it would be not something too significant, but he's going to be a similar timeline to Ross. So 2 big losses. Really disappointing, but it's football, and whenever someone else gets injured, there's always an opportunity for someone else, and we will support them back in their rehab and try and get them back into the group as quickly and safely as possible. But we have a lot of games between now and then to really focus on, and they'll get everyone's best care and attention. So yeah, but both will be out for the weekend.
Are they worrying enough to make you think differently about January and what you might need to do?
I think we've been really clear about January in-house and what we need, or what we think we need, or what we want. And that'll be dependent on finance and options available, and what happens between now and January as well. So we didn't envisage them two getting injured, so it might change the plan a little bit. But also, they should be back fairly soon, or in and around that time, or just after the window closes. So yeah, I really don't know. It depends on their progress, and it depends on the results between now and then as well, and how we feel the team is and what shape it's in. So it is a blow, and it may change things, but at this minute in time, it probably, I don't expect it too much. We have options on the bench that are desperate to play, and people will have a chance to step up now and take the opportunities that them too have been given recently, especially Camaldine. I think it's his best run of games he's had in his career so far in terms of starts and being fit and available for training and playing. So it's a big disappointment and a setback for him. But yeah, everyone else has to be ready.
And Cardiff, of course, are a side who have shown they're very capable in the Championship this season. New manager this summer, slightly different way of doing things. What are you expecting from them?
Yeah, aggressive, physical. The new manager's really come in and stamped his authority on the team. I think they've recruited well, for sure, for the Championship, and what he requires. And they were on a brilliant run of form. They've hit a bit of a sticky patch recently, but they've had some tough games. But yeah, very powerful. So it'll be a tough game. It'll be an interesting game. It'll be interesting to see how they come and set up, and if it's too different, if it's similar or very different to Bristol City and Huddersfield. So it'll be another test for us, another challenge. I feel like we're in a really, really good place. 3rd game in a week. They've had an extra day of recovery than us, so we have to make sure more than ever it's the game that we want it to be and not what they want it to be. But I'm looking forward to it.
You're 5 unbeaten at home. You've looking to win 4 at home in a row for the first time in a few years for this club, and you're 10 unbeaten. So how pleasing are all those aspects, especially the unbeaten run? Yeah,
I'm more happy for the players than anyone, because like for what they've done from where they were to where they are now, I just think they deserve so much praise and credit, and they have a huge amount of respect from us as coaching staff and gratitude for what they've been doing, and also the supporters at home as well, and how the energy's changed there for sure since I look back at those Leicester and Ipswich games, and they were difficult nights, understandably so, and the energy's completely shifted in the stadium. It's been amazing. So I think when you sit in this chair and you sit in this job, you have to accept that there's not going to be many times where you're entirely satisfied or happy. So like, I have a huge amount of joy in my work, but I think that's different from being. There's a big difference to that and being satisfied, or because there's always, you need to do stuff, you need to work on things, you need to work out or try and work out what the next problems will be and what the solutions are going to be to that. So like we win 1-0 on Wednesday, me and you have our little thing after the game, and then you go back and then I'm already trying to think about Cardiff, and I'm watching some of the bits in the first half and the second half, and you don't sleep, and the 3-game week is exhausting for that, and then it's non-stop. So whilst there is so much joy in the work and the process and all that stuff, you get very little time to enjoy for too long. I enjoy winning. Like we're winners. We're not in this job for any other reason. You want to win, but we're trying to win in a way that we feel is the best way, is a way that we believe and have so much conviction in. And when you believe in something and have so much conviction in something, there's a really fine line between being satisfied but always wanting more. And it's like this team, I believe, has so much more to give. So whilst I'm really so happy with the players and the team and the club and the staff and where we were to where we are, I can't be happy for too long and always want more. It's like you have to accept it's in you, and it's why it can be quite like it can be a lonely job at times. I have amazing support around me, amazing people, but still at that time when it falls on you, and some of their careers fall on you as well, and their families. So it's an amazing privilege, an amazing responsibility. And it's a really long answer to your question, but yeah, happy but never happy enough, and never satisfied and never comfortable. You can't be in this job, so I want more. I think the team wants more. I think everyone here wants more, and it's up to us to make sure we keep giving it.
Just finally, off the back of what you just said, do we all, fans, you, players, mentally you especially, have to pace yourself through the season, or can you be relentless constantly for 9 months?
Yeah, I think
give yourself a break occasionally.
Listen, in this job in 4 years, it's really interesting because when you go into it, you talk about balance and self-care and all that stuff. And I have some really strict routines that I stick to that really help me. And I go home and I focus on my children and my family because it's so important to me. But is never not in your mind, the job, and wanting to be successful and wanting to help people and support people and empower people and watch them grow and be part of their journey. So balance is really difficult. And what happens is you work, and I'll probably get criticised for that, but I work, probably get ill for 2 days, recover, and then go again. Because it's like when you're all in, there's no compromise. And we talk about well-being and all that stuff. Like, I'm fine. I love doing what I do. I'm eating a bit too much at the minute. I need to stop eating smell like bread too much. But apart from that, it's all good. But when you're tired, you make bad decisions. But it's like fundamentally, it's a really difficult job to be in, and to be relentless all the time without sacrificing something or compromising something. But the job requires that. I think as a leader, you are always judged on your energy and your authenticity are the two most important things. So when I come in here, whether we've lost 1-0 or we won 1-0 on Wednesday night and you have 4 hours sleep, we come in on Thursday and we're trying to learn and tell the players and help them to say, listen, this was good, this stuff wasn't so good, this is why I had an argument with Adam on the radio, and now we need to improve on this so we don't argue again. So it's like, but that's the point, and to find your energy all the time for that, you have to somehow. And I choose to do it because of the people we work with, and I get energy from them, and so when you come in, it's easy, but at some point there's a cost to that, right? And I think everyone who's in this job understands that, and everyone around you has to understand that as well. And I feel fiercely protective of the players and what we're trying to build and what we're doing, because I love what we do and I love the people we're doing it with. And when you're all in, you have good energy and good people, I think hopefully at some point it will be successful.
And we have to learn to be kind to ourselves as well.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I'll be for 10:30.
Cheers, Larry. So it's interesting you just reflecting on the last sort of 4 years of management there, 'cause I was going to say there's been, I think, pretty much 5 years to the day that Saints last played Cardiff here at St Mary's. And that was Ralph Hasenhüttl's first game as manager. He obviously was here for 4 years. And I think things have just changed so much in that 5 years in football, everybody's lives. And it's just I was reflecting on myself earlier today, just thinking about that 5 years. It's gone quickly.
Yeah, it's 4 years, I think nearly 200 games now as a manager, and I feel like I've learnt a lot, changed a lot in terms of like what works, what doesn't, what I liked about what I was doing, what didn't, how we work the process, how we can be really efficient with it and try and streamline it and help the players as much as possibly can. But I feel like I'm myself still, and I think the biggest challenge in this job is to keep that sense of self and not to get like caught up in the flow of emotion and results and perception from the outside and criticism, praise. It's all the same. It's really difficult to navigate through that sometimes and to remain yourself. Does that make sense? So I think it's the most important bit, and I've been fortunate, I feel like I've been able to keep growing a little bit and maintain a sense of perspective and a sense of self. And if I'm going to do this for a long time, which I hope to, and I hope to be at this club for a long time, be successful, I think you have to go in and behave like that. You can never go in somewhere and think I'm going to be, and do this and that. It's just not the case. So I think all in, enjoy as much as you possibly can, because there's not enough joy in the game, in my opinion. When you're in it and you're in the thick of it, I don't think people find enough joy in it at all, because ultimately we all got into the game yourselves as well. We were reporting on it and talking about it and watching it and getting paid to do it is a beautiful privilege, but we all got into it because we loved it, and you found joy in it as a kid, and you lose that slowly. But I don't ever want to lose that, otherwise I just don't think I'll do the job anymore. So that keeps you sane and it keeps you a bit balanced, and it has changed a lot. It moves quickly, and when Ralph spent 4.5 years here, the energy that takes to be somewhere there and be relentless, and it's not easy.
You talk about managing emotions there. You're going to have two guys who are extremely disappointed, obviously Ross and Camaldine. Camaldine, you've spoken about a lot, a young player, really intelligent, but somebody who's probably maybe hoped to go back to the Premier League this summer. He's now going to be out for a month or two, and that's going to be difficult for him. And obviously Ross, we know he's been through for 10 months. So how do you manage their emotions? How do you look after them, get them back?
Just by checking in, asking them how they are, and offering them every ounce of support, mentally, physically, emotionally, that we possibly can. So difficult to see someone and behind closed doors and the emotion they feel, and it's the greatest privilege when someone can feel like that and be vulnerable in front of you as a leader. It's just difficult. I'm so upset for Ross, especially Camaldine. I'm gutted for. I feel like he was really starting to grasp what we want from him and starting to show real glimpses of what he can do, and he'll be so frustrated. And then Ross is the one that, after 9-10 months out, and also fighting so hard to be here, because he feels like he's let us down, and he hasn't. He just hasn't. He's been amazing, energy-wise, as a person, the way he's worked so hard, the way he's interacted with staff in his rehab, when he come back on the training pitch, what he gave us, and on the pitch in a short space of time. And then his overriding feeling is not about himself at that moment. It's about feeling like he's let us down. Not one bit. He's going to be an amazing signing for this club, and we just have to get through this tough period. And I honestly believe, I said to the team when we'd lost 4 on the bounce, our season will be defined by how we get through tough moments. And I think when you're in your football career, there's possibly more lows than there are highs. Injuries, not being in the team, losing, loss of form, criticism, the pressure you have from the people around you, the pressure you put on yourself. It's really not easy to deal with. So I think a lot of it, your career and the success you have, is defined by what you overcome and the tough moments and how you get through them and how you deal with them, how resilient you are. Ross is incredibly resilient. He'll be long term, he'll be really good, but in the short term, we really need to help him and make him and help him understand that he's let no one down. It's one of those things. Life is unfair at times, and we'll get through it together. And I genuinely mean that. We have a group of players that are so together now. You can see that on the pitch. I think we have a club that is really coming together now, and I know everyone will offer Ross support for sure, and Camaldine, and we'll get through it together. And when they come back, whenever that is, and they will, it'll be brilliant.
There will be that question of whether signing Ross in the short term was a risk when the club was a striker, when knew that he'd be out for a long time.
Yeah, he's not a short-term signing, so it was never a short-term signing. I think we accepted that he was injured. We thought he was the best. When you look at all the options, he was number one at the start, and then it took a while because we were exploring the extent of his injury and how long it would take to come back, and then you weigh it all up, and there were certainly a lot of other players on the list. But me and Jason spoke at length for a long time with the recruitment guys, with Darren and the rest of the team, and you just circled back round and came back to Ross every single time. And despite the injury, we felt he was the best option for us. And when we see him on the training pitch and what he has to offer, we still feel that. So we're very fortunate. We have two fantastic, proven strikers at this level, and one really young, talented one in Sekou as well. Unfortunately for Dom, there may have been an opportunity for him with the latest injury of Ross, and he was doing great at Reading. He's now got a long-term injury as well. I spoke to him last Saturday after he got injured. I rung him and spoke to him, and look forward to catching up with him at some point when he's back in. Really disappointed for him as well. So it's tough. But I don't think it affects too much of what we want to do, because we still have some really good options and really talented players in that position. So yeah, we will. He's a long-term signing. He's on a long-term contract, and eventually he will prove why he's a good signing for sure.
One of those proven strikers you still love there was obviously Che Adams. Things may change, I suppose, with two attackers being out, but I was going to ask about Che. I suppose it's difficult for him. He hasn't been getting as many minutes as he would have liked since August, hasn't scored since August, and his contract obviously expires at the end of the season. Are you clear about what the plan is for him when the January window comes around? Or is that
yeah, I'm clear that he needs to be in the team and play in the team and score and help the team. Che is a number of players that have found it very difficult to get in the starting 11 recently, and also feels like he's one of a number of players that can't have too much to argue with, because the team it's been fairly consistent and it's 10 unbeaten, right? So as a player, it is one of the hardest places to be in when the team is successful, because you are sitting there, and despite what anyone says, you are sitting there and hoping the guy in your position doesn't have a very good game. You want the team to win, but you want an opportunity. And if any footballer tells you different, then they're fibbing. They're not being 100% honest, because I loved one of my best mates at Norwich, played in the same position as me. I loved him, we roomed together, but when I sat on the bench and he played, I didn't want him to have a good game. So I'm sorry, Stevie Whittaker, but he knows this. He would have felt exactly the same for me. I love that guy, he's brilliant. But because it's in you, you want to play football, right? If you don't, then you're in the wrong profession and you're not going to last very long. So I think Che is that. Unfortunately for him as well, one of his best mates in the squad is Adam Armstrong. He's producing so well, not just numbers, but everything he brings to the team, and he's been captain for a while now with Jack out as well. So he's had to be patient, and he looks hungry. He's playing. There's a lot on the line for Che. He hasn't signed a new contract here, which you have to completely respect, but he's fully committed. So now there's out of contract in the summer. There's some really, I can imagine there's some big emotions around that, and fear, and it's about using that fear and making it healthy fear and using it to really drive on. And I think he will. He's a really brilliant character, and I think he's going to help us a lot in between now and the end of the season. And that's the plan for him, is to help us as much as possible. I don't think there's any other plan, unless something extraordinary plucks out of the air for him and for the club, and then we have to deal with it. And that's the same for any player, right? If you're outside of the top four in the Premier League, any club has to be willing to accept that sometimes there is something on offer that is too good for everyone. But I hope and I think he feels the same, that he will be here till the end of the season. And whether you play 5 games, 45 games, 10 games, if you are in a successful team that achieves something special, everyone wins. Everyone. From the number 2 goalie to the number 3 goalie, to the young lads who now are playing again in a Premier League team, to the people in the canteen back in the Premier League, everyone wins. So I think that has to be everyone's motivation.
Just very quickly on the number 2, number 3 goalie actually, there was no Alex McCarthy in the squad on Wednesday. Andy Mohammed stepped up from the 21s team. Is Alex injured, or is this?
Alex is injured, yeah. Sorry, did I not mention that in the last one? Yeah, so, you weren't here, were you? On holiday, yeah. So, Alex has got a minor strain, so he's very close. He won't be involved tomorrow, possibly next week. If not, I would have thought it would definitely be the next week. But Joe Lumley is a fantastic. He's unfortunately been number 3 at the minute. He's not used to that in his career, but he's been amazing. The value he's added, the voice, the energy, the willingness and want to win in training, to push the other 2 goalkeepers. If he had to come on tomorrow or play tomorrow for whatever reason, no problem at all. And then Adley's really stepped up. They've been great in training, really good. Dean's really got a tight-knit group of goalkeepers. A good blend of experience and youth as well, and they're all pushing Gavin. And Gavin is no surprise that his performances keep improving, and they have to keep driving on the same as anyone else out on the pitch as well.